Hey everyone, Blockchain Bernie here with my latest update. This is the May update, our monthly update of the Bitoku project, the Bitoku chain. And for those of you who don't know what the Bitoku project is, we are adding the storage layer, the missing storage layer to smart contracts, which is super exciting because we can do Web3 with that. We can do real Web3 and can do real apps that are now running on the Web2 that we're all familiar with. And we can run it on the chain managed by no central instance. That is so awesome. And I'm giving you updates on that project each and every month. But otherwise, I'm posting videos 3 times a week with, general educational content about blockchain and crypto and everything. So if you want more content like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. And now, without further ado, let's just dive into the status of the Bitoku project. So where are we? This month has been, has been focused on 2 things, right? Number 1 is, again, the testing, because we are rebranding. We are fixing the bugs that we had with the existing Bitoku token. And I've made a lot of videos about that, about the token migration. So the existing Oku tokens that you guys have already earned, if you have a node, right? So how that token is going to be migrated, watch that video up here about how to migrate the tokens. So, and that's all going to happen, and we are testing that. And unfortunately, we cannot really tell how long the testing is going. But the guys, the team from the development and testing team, they're making great progress. So we have to have a really great test. We have taken all the data from mainnet. So everything that you guys have in Oku tokens and, with your node purchases and stuff like that, we took that into DevNet to test everything there with the real data, right? So if you're confused about mainnet, testnet, DevNet, localnet, all these things, I've made a video about that as well. So make sure to watch that also. All right, so that was number 1, testing. So it's an ongoing task, and as soon as we're done, we're going to announce the big date when there's going to be the relaunch and the rebranding, and your tokens will be migrated and everything. Really looking forward to that day. But on the other hand, the other focus was working on the design of the actual Bitoku blockchain. As you guys might know, we made a little bit of a decision here, a major decision to, be our own L1 chain, not being like a balcony on top of some other L1 chains and adding that storage layer, but having, one coherent developer experience so that everything is just one, right? And today, we've been working on the white paper a lot and doing discussions about the architecture and all of that. And in this video, I want to dive a little bit deeper and show you guys why this is so cool to have everything in one coherent system. And I'll show you a little bit of stuff here from some other modern L1 blockchains. We have Aptos, and we have an upcoming one called Sui. So with Aptos, you can see that, the Move language has a concept called global storage, right? And that global storage is basically, it's the storage that is stored on each and every validator of that L1 chain, right? So you have that global storage on Ethereum, you have that global storage on Solana. It's called Solana accounts. And, each and every validator has to store it, and it has to access it fast, right? So it has almost, it needs to be in RAM almost. It's called memory mapped files on Solana. So if it doesn't fit in RAM, it goes onto a file and stuff like that. But you can only meet the performance requirements if you have that stuff in RAM. So there you can see that it's kind of prohibitive to store gigabytes, terabytes of data in just one decentralized app, because it would just not be possible to store it on chain, at least not on that chain that's not built for storage, right? So, but what Aptos and the Move language introduced here, and that is actually cool stuff. We can use the Move language to have this struct here, global storage, and then it's just a map of an address and a module name, and then you have the resource values here. So it is basically super easy in the Move language, which is based off of the Rust language, to access that global storage, right? So global storage is cool. So now let's see but it's that global centralized storage that doesn't scale, right? The storage doesn't scale. Solana scales greatly for compute, but Solana does not scale at all for storage, right? So, and if we want to have real Web3, we need to scale for storage as well. All right, so let's see what Sui is doing. Let me show you that here. So Sui has this object central global storage, right? So the Sui guys here, no idea if I pronounced that correctly, but you know, I'll just call it Sui. So, and they say in core Move, global storage is part of the programming model and can be accessed through special operations, such as move to, move from, blah, blah, blah. Both resources and modules are stored in the core Move global storage. That's the one that we just saw here on the Aptos page, right? When you publish a module, it's stored into a newly generated module address inside Move. When a new object, aka resource, is created, it's usually stored into some address as well. But on-chain storage is expensive. Wow, and limited, not optimized for storage and indexing. Current blockchains cannot scale to handle storage-heavy applications. So that is not my words. Those are Sui's words, right? And Sui is probably a really modern blockchain. It hasn't even launched yet on mainnet. So it is super modern technology. And those guys say it. They say it here, right? Current blockchains cannot scale to handle storage-heavy applications, such as marketplaces and social apps. Man, what am I talking about, right? This is the problem that we as Bitoku are solving, because that is an important problem to solve. That is progress in the blockchain world. That gets us from, you know, blockchain 1 was Bitcoin and all those coins that have no programmability. Blockchain 2 was Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, all these, Cardano, all the smart contract platforms, right? But they can do compute. And blockchain 3 is we can combine compute with storage, just as every regular server on Web 2 as well. And man, that is a big, big step, and somebody needs to do it, right? So there is no global storage in Sui Move. None of the global storage related operations are allowed in Sui Move. So Sui's reaction to that is like, man, storage doesn't scale anyway, so we're not doing it, right? So Sui is basically also one of all these L1 blockchains, as all of the L1 blockchains that are out there, they are focused on compute. They are not focused on storage at all, and not on scaling storage, right? And that is the problem that we are solving. And we're using the technology that some of the storage chains are already using, right? We all know Filecoin and SC Prime and all these, they do blockchain-based storage, but they don't do it for smart contracts, right? Those are standalone storage chains, right? They are not built to be an extension of the smart contract programming model, right? But that is what we need in order to make Web3 a reality. Without that, it's just not going to happen. All right. So, and what we are doing and what will be described in our white paper is we are using that global storage thing, right? And the one is the global storage. That's the one that is completely global. That is, and we still need that, right? We still need that storage that all of the smart contract chains have, which is expensive to scale, but it is there for certain applications. But if we have storage intensive applications, there will be a second struct. There will be a struct eggs, right? And eggs is the acronym that we created, and it means external global grouped storage, right? So global storage is in there, but it's external and it's grouped, right? So external means it's off the smart contract chain, but it is on another chain, which is our storage chain, right? And the storage, and it makes it external because it doesn't have to be on each and every validator. There will be storage provider nodes, right? And we will have some sort of redundancy there because you want your data stored in a redundant fashion. And we will use erasure codes and all these things. So I've mentioned erasure codes so many times. There will be a separate video about it because it's important that you understand what erasure codes are to understand all that storage stuff, right? So there's an upcoming video about that. So, and then everything is kind of delegated. That's what the external means here. We delegate it to an external chain that has a two-step, a two-tiered architecture with the validators and the storage provider nodes, right? And that makes the whole thing possible. And, by that design decision that we use the move language as a default in Bitoku, that enables us to just have the second struct here, right? We have one struct global storage, and we have the other struct eggs, the external global grouped storage, for that, external delegated storage that can store terabytes and exabytes and whatever on millions of storage provider nodes that are out there. People can earn money by dedicating, small devices like Raspberry Pis or, old Mac Minis or whatever they have, and have some SSDs on there and dedicate that space, that storage space, to the Bitoku blockchain. And they don't have to run a validator there, right? It's just a storage provider. And the validators of the Bitoku chain, they make sure that these storage providers do their job as they promised. And yeah, that makes the whole Bitoku thing possible. And we've made so much progress on, seeing what's going on in the other very modern blockchains here, and how we can build on that and come up with that, just two structs. It's such a striking, elegant, simple design, right? Having and it's elegant and simple in Move already because they have that global storage, and it's so much more elegant than what we have in kind of plain vanilla Solana, right? Where everything's an account, and it's really a cumbersome programming model and a cumbersome developer experience, right? And why is the developer experience important? Well, there's a video for that. Where I explain why, we need to have a great developer experience. So that was already simple and elegant in the Move language with the global storage. But then just having a second struct, and that being the eggs, the external global group storage, where we can just so easily access storage that will be stored on the Bitoku storage chain with the Bitoku validators, validating the storage transactions, and with the storage providers, millions and millions of storage providers all over the world. And it will be so much fun for everyone to being able to be part of that network and helping these developers that develop all those Web3 apps, right? That will finally be possible, right? Right now, Web3 is more like, and Elon Musk has said it himself, it's more of a marketing thing. because we don't have the underlying infrastructure. We don't have the Web3 infrastructure. And we need, the key part is the storage, because, all these Web2 apps, they are all storage heavy, right? And the SUI guys, I mean, they write it here, and they say, man, how do they word it? Current blockchains cannot scale to handle storage-heavy applications, such as marketplaces, social apps, whatever, right? It's just not possible with today's blockchains. This is an important problem that needs to be solved, that will be solved, because, Web3 is unstoppable. It's an experiment for humanity, a societal experiment. Can we build all these Web2 apps that we have right now, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Airbnbs, all of these, they're all centrally controlled, right? And it's the same idea that Satoshi had with Bitcoin. He said, well, money is centrally controlled. Let's make it, let's decentralize the control over it, right? And now we do the same thing with applications that run on the web, right? They are all centrally controlled these days. And the experiment that humanity will make is, can we get it all decentralized, right? And can we have them in a way there's not one centralized organization that controls it all, that, controls how much they charge, how much is the cut. If you've used eBay recently, right, it is shocking to see their fees, right? If I compare that to like 5, 10, 15 years ago, they kind of 10x their fees. It's just perceived, and don't kill me if it's not true, but for my perception, it is that the fees are crazy, right? And they control it centrally, and humanity will make that experiment. Can we have it, owned by the community, owned by the users, owned by volunteers, right? That's called Web3. And Web3 without that storage layer for smart contracts won't be possible. And I'm so excited to work on this problem, because, someone needs to solve it. And as I said, that was my May update. So we've been working on these issues, the testing for the relaunch. Super excited about that. Cannot make, good predictions on when we will be done with that. As soon as we find bugs, we need to continue and test again and stuff like that. And then we're working on the white paper, making great progress there. So I'm super excited, within the near future to be able to do that relaunch, and to launch the white paper, to launch our GitHub repo, and all these type of things. So thank you so much for listening. It was an exciting month. May will be an exciting month as well. And give us that like, subscribe to my channel, and catch you guys later.